All right, using some new tech here to do this live broadcast, this webinar, and hopefully it will work out. If it doesn't, I will skip the new tech, go back to Facebook Live. So if things go bad, message me once I notice it. I will start from where I left off, just with a Facebook Live direct video. So, okay, that done. I don't like doing webinars because you know why? It sounds like, to me, I'm just talking to myself. Because I don't see anybody out there. I don't know what you guys are doing. Someone's laughing at me in the comments. I can see that. I don't have anyone here helping me tonight, I don't think, from the rest of the group. So post what you want in the comments. I will take a look after this and hopefully be able to answer your questions. If you have a question that you're going to be sticking around for, I will do some Q&A at the end. So I'm happy to do that with you. I originally posted this up as, well, the idea was we're going to do 10 simple steps that would give you a boost of 30% in sales. And it's now 5 simple steps. And the reason being is not because I couldn't come up with 10. It's really because as I started doing this, I got up over 5 and I realized there's no way I'm going to get this done without everybody falling asleep, including myself. So I changed it to 5. Some may say I should have dropped the percentage, but I don't think that's necessary. I think even with these 5, I can get you 30% in additional sales. Now, it may not be things that you want to do or things you want to hear, but I tell you what, sometimes in business that's the way it is. If you want to grow, sometimes you got to do the things that you've been putting off or the things that you didn't think were that important. So I just want to encourage you to step out there and try some new things. If you hear one of these and you think it's a really bad idea, maybe experiment with it a little bit and make that decision later. I know when I started InflatableOffice, my plan was to charge $35 a month for unlimited everything. And I know you all would have loved that at this point, but I realized that was a really horrible idea, and luckily Joel talked me out of that. And if I wouldn't have done it differently, I probably wouldn't be doing this here today. I don't think I would have made it. So I'm just encouraging you to try some new things here if you have to tonight. Some of this is probably going to seem really simple to some of you. I apologize for that. Most of the feedback that I've gotten is that I've go way too far, it's way too complicated, it's way too heady. So I'm trying to bring it down a notch here on this one. We'll get into some more complicated stuff in other webinars that we're going to do. So we'll see here what we can do. I want to talk first about leads. Leads are sales that you have to work for, okay? A lot of the things that we're going to talk about tonight is how to convert leads, or ways to convert leads, and ways to make those sales more profitable. We are not going to get into marketing. That's a whole other topic. If you don't have leads, if you don't have people coming to your site, submitting forms on your site, asking questions and so forth, then that's a marketing issue. You need to approach it that way. Once you have people coming in, you're going to need the stuff that I'm giving you here, no matter who you are. So kind of the progression that I like to think of it as is marketing first, lead collection, lead conversion, sales, and then of course happy owners, okay? Because you're making lots of money. So first thing I want to do here today is go through, this is probably going to sound really, really simple, but I think it's really important, and a lot of people don't tune this out because a lot of people don't do this. They don't do this right. First thing you can do to help raise your income is to raise your prices. If you want to grow, raise your prices, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you that so item prices is where we're going to go. We're going to focus a little bit on that here. The reason why you want to raise your prices is not, I mean, obviously if you raise your prices, you're going to make more money, right? But there's a whole psychological element in doing this, okay? So we want to raise our prices so that you can give a discount and not feel like you're losing money. We want you to feel like you can give a discount whenever you need to. It should be like a 10 to 15% discount, in my opinion. Some people would go higher. A company that does this really well is Kohl's. Are there any Kohl's shoppers out there? How excited do you get when you go to Kohl's and you walk away and you've saved so much money? I guarantee you Kohl's is not losing money on that deal. They've just learned something that a lot of people don't do, and that is raise your prices to the point where you can do discounts. So I would encourage you, if you are not giving away discounts, if you don't like giving away discounts, stop it. Raise your prices and then give them away like free candy, okay? There's three things that are going to happen when you start doing this, okay? First of all, you're going to make a lot of sales at those new rates, at those 10 to 15% rates. A lot of you are doing online booking, and a lot of you are doing, you're waking up and you're finding the sale right there in your Inflatable Office account, your Event Office account, or your Event Hawk account. You're going to see that sale right there, and you didn't even have to do any work for it. You didn't have to explain why your prices are higher this year. It's just going to happen. You're just going to make those sales. So that's one great reason to do it. Another thing is that you're gonna give discounts out to people, and they're just going to be pumped. They're going to be happy that they got a chance to kind of wheel and deal with you. That they pulled one over on you. That they waited long enough that you gave them a coupon, that gave them that discount, and so forth. So they're going to be happy, and they're going to think, I'm going to go back there. And of course, they may expect another discount, but that's okay. You can kind of give them less of a discount. You already know that they liked your service, so because they came back, right? The other thing that you're going to see is you're going to see a higher volume at your normal rate. So just by changing it like that, you're going to see, by giving out a discount, more people are going to say yes, 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 I will book, I will book. For one of the things you can do is you can make that discount somewhat of a time limit on that discount, so that they don't have forever to think about it. They have a certain amount of time. You say, well, I'll give you a 10% discount, but you only have 3 days to figure that out before I'm going to withdraw that. So, and now there's a couple of ways that we can do this here. So I wanted to talk a little bit about price categories real quick, just showing you how to work some things in here. So for price categories, the reason why we have price categories as opposed to item prices. So if you go in here normally, you're going to go into your item, and you're going to add a piece of inventory, and you're going to set a price on it. Now, it looks in our new version like you're setting the price directly here on the item. You're not actually doing that. What it's doing is creating a price category, is what we call them. So this is actually a pretty good naming convention right here. To name the price somewhat like what it means to you, okay? So like if I were going to make a price that was like $400 for a day or something, I might name it $400. If I'm going to make a price that applies maybe to all of my 15 by 15 bounce houses, I might call it 15 by 15 bounce price, right? So you're creating these prices, and they exist over here in item prices. So here we find that 400 price again. So the reason why we do this is because when you guys decide you need to raise your price, you really don't want to go through 200 items and increase it by 10%. What you want to do is come in here and increase this by 10% and make it, we would come in here and just increase your prices. If we're going to do 10%, it's a pretty simple thing to do right here, and save that. But you want to be able to do it to maybe like 20 or 30 different prices that kind of apply to all of your different things. Sure, you're going to have some that are specific to one item, but a lot of times you have similar prices. You have little groups that you kind of make, and you price things kind of the same, and that's the purpose of that. So if you don't have it set up that way, you might want to think about that at some point. It really makes it easier to raise prices. But enough of that. Let's go somewhere else. Let's talk for a minute about coupons. So I'm still in this raise your prices idea. So I want to talk to you a little bit about coupons and how to make those deals with people, track your marketing effectiveness. Okay, so we're going to go over to promotions, and there's a couple ways to do promotions. We just released a new way with promotions, which you have to enable something called autosave, and we use some pretty fancy conditional filters and stuff. You don't have to use those if you don't want. There are our legacy promotions that still exist. I'm probably not going to go through those ones. I'm going to look more at the new ones here because we believe that's the future here. And I'm going to see if I can turn something on here so I don't have a problem with those promotions when I'm doing it. So I just turned on autosave on my test account here. So back in promotions, what you want to do, well, one of the things you can do, and I'm going to try to give you some ways to kind of automate this whole process, is to set up coupons and say, okay, if I'm gonna be giving out a coupon pretty normally for people to get 10% off, then maybe I'll make a coupon and say, as long as you meet these conditions, then I will give you that amount off. And I'm just looking at this, and I've never used the conditional prices for a coupon here. So I think what we would do here is we would have to actually set the coupon up here. So I don't have, let's see, let's go over and do it real quick just to show you. So we'll do create new filter, and we'll open a new tab. And what we're going to do is we're going to key off of the coupon code. So we're going to call this, maybe it's something the same. And you can see why going through 10 would be really difficult. So we're going to try to pick up the speed here a little bit. Let's see here. And I might just have to not do this because I didn't prepare for that well enough. I'm going to go back and show you how to do it on Legacy real quick. Like I said, I've never done coupon codes with the new stuff, so I might have to make some change to that. I'm not sure if that one works quite right. So let's do it here, so that you guys have something when I leave you. Oh, it's just the code. That's what I'm messing up. Sorry guys, you would just name it like something like this. Probably don't want to put any fancy characters in it. So we would just call it 10 coupon or whatever you want to call it. That's the actual coupon code. So that's what triggers it. So, and then you just get the amount off. So and when it comes to the other promotion, you just want to filter that basically matches everything. And as long as they're using the coupon code, it'll trigger. So that's how you build the coupon code for just doing a discount. You can be more fancy and do some exclusions and stuff. We have exclusions that you can do here on this, as well as with the advanced filters you can do exclusions. But in this case, this is a coupon code that you're just going to give out to people that you don't really care when they use it. Now if you do care, if you want to kind of vary the code a little bit and do like 5 one month, 10 another, 15 another, all you got to do is put an expiration date on it. On the Legacy, you can just uncheck these and put an expiration date on it. On the other promotions, what you're going to do, same thing here, you're going to just name it like this. And it was like right in front of me and I just didn't realize it. And you would put your filter on here, which would exclude either by create date, like it has to be created in a certain month, or the event has to occur in a certain period, and that's what would exclude other things. So that's how you build a coupon. And that would just kind of prevent abuse. So if you did have one that was just long-standing, then someone could come and just try it again, right? So you probably don't want to do that. You probably do want to kind of change it up periodically. And then the next step would be to, build your reports. So, and I should create one coupon just for kicks here. So let's do that and see if I can. Don't really have a filter here. We'll make one. Let's see, I have a lead in here. We'll just say first, I want to make sure it matches. So I'm going to say first name. I think I called it test. We'll see. If not, I'll change it. Yeah, so we match with one lead there. So there's my filter. And then, so now I just have to come back here. And we're going to, I'm on the wrong page. We're going to put the coupon on here. If you haven't worked with coupons before, I suggest you do that before you do a webinar. So I believe that's what I named the filter, and then you do your 10% off right here. We'll call this a coupon. And so now if I go to my lead, this one is one I'm doing in the admin, so to add the coupon, it's a little different. I'm actually going to choose it here out of the interface. So there, that's how I add it on. And there we go, we see the -40, so it's calculating. And that was just on the items here. It doesn't include distance charges in this example. So you can do that if you want. So that's how it would come in. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, because what you can then do if you're trying to look at the effectiveness of what you're doing, and usually this would be a higher priority or a higher status, you would come back into filters, and I'll do it over here, and you make a simple filter that says, okay, I want to find anybody that used my coupons. And so then you would pick the special. I think this is called coupon. I don't know why I couldn't find this before. It might just be special or promotion. I'm missing something here, so I'm not sure why it's doing that. I'll have to look into that, because we should be able to pick a special or promotion, and it may be something with my test account that I set up here. But we should be able to choose that and then set, our name of our coupon in here, and then when we apply that filter to our leads page, we'd then be able to see it. So I'll have to look into that to see why my account here isn't doing it properly. So, but other than, so that's just making the coupon. So now you need to get the coupon out there, right? So you can do that just by all the people that you're talking to and meeting with. When you're on the phone with them, you call and offer that to them. But I have some really cool ways that you can do it too. So here's where we're going to get a little more complicated. One of the things that you can do is you can build a pop-up on your site so that when people are leaving your site, you can present with them a coupon. Now this is a pretty simple thing to do. I'm going to kind of go through it a little quickly. So we're going to go to templates here. And so we give you Elementor, so you have these templates, these pop-up templates here. And what you're going to do is come in here and you're going to say, I want to add a new one. And I want you to name it. So I'll name it Webinar. That's what we're doing right now. Now I've never used the templates that it presents here. I usually just kind of build one from scratch. But I'll show you here how to do that. So it's going to bring up these pop-ups, and usually what I do is I just exit out of here and I go right to the pop-up and I say, okay, I just need to drag over what I want. So I can put an image in here just by dragging it over. I can put a heading in here. So I can drop my heading, make my heading, before you go. And then if I want to, if I click this grid up here, I can then add, a text block in there too. You see where that blue highlight shows up? We just drop it right in there. And then here's where you'd put your information about your 10% coupon. So, of course you'd put some more text in there and everything else. So make that real fancy, make it real nice. Now the next thing with your pop-up that you want to do is set up some conditions. So you go here to display conditions and you'd say, I want to add a condition. Do I want it to be on the entire site? Yes, no, maybe so. You can do includes, excludes. There's not a lot to do here, but you can go in here and say singular. You can say I want it on a certain page. So there's a lot of things you can do to get that condition of where you want it to display. Then your trigger. So we were talking about on exit. So on exit intent would be what you would want here. As they go to leave your page, it's going to pop that thing up and try to keep them there. But there's a lot of other ways to do it too in here. And then there's, of course, some advanced stuff that you can do. So that's just a quick rundown of how to do it with a pop-up right native within Elementor. The other thing I wanted to show you here is how to do it through some auto emails or text messages when nothing's happening with their leads. So this gets a little bit more into filters, but I wanted to show you one thing first. Now this is not going to be exciting for this account because this is a test account with nothing in it. But if you go to your dashboard and to the stats page, in the company statistics, there's a couple different statistics here that are pretty useful. We have average book days and average look days. Average book days is the number of days it takes for a person to book after they've gotten a quote. Now that doesn't really work if you're making a copy of their original quote and then booking that copy, because that stat will be off. But it's the best we can do, right? So if you can avoid it, use one of their quotes to make the actual booked event. The average look days is the other one. That's how far in advance they're looking. So these are very useful. So for average book days, what we could do is we could say, okay, and some of this is these filters I think would probably require CRM to do them well. But we would go ahead and go in here and we would say we want contact last activity. So we're going to do this based on their last activity, date and time. So we track that based on site visits, response to email, opening an email, calls if you have iPhone or whatever, so we can tell when their last interaction was. And we would say if our average book days was, let's say, 5, if most of the time they're booking within 5 days, we want to say if they've been over, maybe if they've been over 6 or 7 days, we know that we are at risk of losing them. So we want to make sure that if we're over that period, we send them an email or a text message. You can do either one or both if you want, that says, hey, here's a coupon. We really would, we don't want to see it go. We don't want to see you miss out. Use this coupon to get a special deal, only valid for today, whatever you want to say. And quite honestly, they don't know when it's valid for, so you can say that without even setting up anything to prevent them from using it 2 days later. It's not really that relevant. The other thing that you can do here, and this is something that we just added today and haven't really tested it, and the reason why we added it today is because I was coming in here preparing for this, and I thought this would be really cool. So we added this one called Contact Next Event Date Time. Okay, so what this is going to do is look at anything that contact has planned with your company, because we need to make sure we filter out not only we need to filter out all of their stuff that they've been doing. They may have quotes, they may have contracted stuff, they may have completed stuff, whatever. We want to filter that stuff out properly, and we only want to give that email, that person's email, one message. We don't want to send a bunch, one for each quote, when they've already booked something ahead of time. So we just want to say that, they don't have a next event date time set. So if they do have one set, that means they've already booked. We really don't want to hand them a coupon, right? So that's how we would want to do that. Very similarly with the look days. Okay, so look days means how far in advance people are looking, and a lot of times you're going to see 30, 45 days. You're booking if we're sitting right now in January. I know winter's a little different, but if you're sitting in mid-January, they're probably booking beginning of March. Okay, so this is another thing that you can do, and you can say, okay, and we would leave that one there because that matters. We would change it up a little bit for the average look days. We would say more like their event start. So their event start, oops, I'm typing something in wrong. Lead start date time. And then you're going to say, let's see, it would be in the next X days. So we would say it's in the next, if 45 days is kind of your thing, then I would maybe within the next 30 days. So this is kind of like the last minute people. You're already booking in March. Maybe you'd go lower yet. Maybe you'd say 15, but you're already booking out there. And so these are last minute bookings that are coming in, and these are really good to get for you because as long as logistically you can handle it, because you wouldn't normally get this money. Okay, so that's why it's a good thing to get. So this one you don't actually need the CRM for because we're not using last contact activity in this filter. Again, you could really customize these filters and use a bunch of different things to really zero in on who you're trying to market to. And the other thing that's nice about this is they don't even have to have a lead in your system. They can be visiting your website, and these things apply to those people visiting your website. That's why we do autosave, because we're saving secret leads into your account and using them to try to see if they match these filters. So anyway, so those are a little bit on coupons, and I'm going to move on here so that we can get to some other stuff. Hopefully that was useful. I think that raising your prices and then offering these coupons, great idea. You should be doing it. Spend the time to set it up, and you'll make a lot of extra money. The next thing I want to talk about is just upselling your events. Upselling your stuff is a great idea because first of all, you've already spent the money to find the lead. You've done the work to convert the lead. You actually have a sale on the books, okay? So now, how can you get that person to spend a little bit more money? Well, you're going to try that when they're booking, of course. I'm not talking about when they're booking right now. I'm talking about prior to the event, okay? So they've already booked, they've already signed the contract. I know this can make it a little more logistically difficult sometimes, but what you want to do is you want to focus on some of those items that are easy items to add on to different events. You can do this manually, so you could have some sort of system where you look through a filter that says, okay, I want to know what's coming up in the next 15 days because I'm probably not going to book much in that period. And I want to start offering these people, I'm going to call them or send them emails or text messages or whatever. So you can do it manually. There's also a little bit of a way to do it automatically as well. So I think probably the simplest way is just send out a general email that says, hey, here are some items that people love that we would be happy to bring in addition to what we're already bringing with you, and we'll do it for 50% of the normal price or something like that. You want to give them a good deal on stuff like this to get them interested and get them to add it on. Stuff that there's things out there I know in your inventory that you can do that with that's not going to hurt you. It's going to be an easy part of your setup, and if you don't have those things, you might consider getting those things because that's a great way to just add on some additional money just by taking a few extra things in the truck and setting them up for the customer. But there are some ways to do this with automations. I'm not going to get as entwined into it as I just did with the coupons and stuff, but I will discuss it a little bit here because I don't want to bore you too much, and I want to save some time at the end for questions where I can really get a little more detailed. So if you were to do this with an automation, what you would probably want to do is try to set up a coupon code that would be special, some sort of 50% off. It would probably be some sort of time-based thing, like you would have to be within 14 days of the event start time, so that you wouldn't have people using it outside of that. This is kind of a last-minute thing where you're trying to kind of just add some additional stuff. You would specifically pick out, and I didn't highlight this, so I'll go back there. You'd specifically pick out a few things in the promotion, like in your rental stuff. So you'd create a rental filter that said only these rental items would get that percentage off. So you would do that, and you could do an automation that would send out based on similarly to our we do auto emails as we approach an event. Very similarly, you could do this, but you would do it through automations, not auto emails, and it could be an email, but you would say within 14 days or 10 days, you start sending these out. And one of the things you could do is send out kind of a graduated thing, like maybe the first one they get is 25% off these things. And if they don't go for that, then they get another one, or maybe they get another one later no matter what that says, hey, we know you got that 25% deal, but now we're still trying to clear our inventory. We'll give you 50% this time if you go for it. So they might add even more. So anyway, that's kind of how you would do it if you wanted to do it that way. The nice thing again about putting a coupon on it is it lets you later at the end of the year do a filter to see how much that was used, and that's useful for planning and marketing for next year. Another thing to do for upselling, renting generators. I know we used to rent generators. It was like one of our highest revenue items, and we did rock walls and stuff. We did some big stuff, but the generators would make a ton of money every year, and the reason why is I think two reasons. First of all, we doubled the cost, the price of a generator. Like you could go get a generator cheap from anywhere you wanted, but you weren't going to get it from us. We were charging 2 to 3 times as much, and we guaranteed we'd have fuel for you, and we guaranteed that it would operate whatever items that we said it would. So that was the one thing, and taking that fear of failure of the event out of that out would that would be enough to get them to pay the extra money, because we would say, look, you can get one somewhere else. We don't guarantee that the stuff's going to work. That's going to be on you. And a lot of people would say, okay, we'll go for it, and that's how we would sell it early on. But I think you can do the same sort of thing before the event starts. So this would be another thing that they would get and say, hey, are you certain about your power capabilities for the event? Because if you're not certain, for a small additional charge of our generator, we'll bring it, we'll throw it in the truck, and we'll be guaranteed to make sure that your event runs fine. Now this is something you might want to filter too, because you might want to say, I only want to do this for outdoor events. Doing indoor is too hard, running cords through places to get them inside. So it's possible to do that if you want. The other thing that you can do is you can just, if you have enough generators, keep one in the vehicle. And so when someone does run into a problem, you can pull it out and add it to their bill. That's another great way to do it as well. So moving on from that, I'm up to my third tip now. So we had raise your prices and upsell your stuff, your events. I want to get into tips a little bit. So this is something that we released not too long ago, and we did it. We were just really inspired by all the stuff that we saw happening with COVID. So COVID really brought, wrong place, we're in payment preferences. COVID really brought QR codes back to the forefront. They'd been around for a while, and everyone thought they were going to be great, and it was going to be a big deal, and it wasn't. It was a big flop, quite honestly. But now QR codes are back. People are doing it more than ever. Everyone actually knows how to use it, and they understand it. So this is a great way to do tips. First, before I go too far into QR codes, we also do tips during checkout. So you can easily add tips during checkout by just turning these little things on right here. You can customize some text if you want in any of these boxes here. That will put extra text around the tip area. You can set up the percentages if you want right here. It's really simple to do. You can now set a default. So if you want one checked by default when they're going through the checkout process, that can happen. You can even say no tip and add that one in there. And that, kind of makes it a little bit like, okay, I have to select something. This is on by default. Now I have to say no tip. If I don't want to tip it, they know that I changed that. And that there's a bit of social pressure there. So that's a thing that some of this stuff just came out last release based on some feedback from some of our customers, and we appreciate that. But the other thing that you can do as a company is set up a Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal account to accept tips. You can also enable tips for employees. And these here, when we're dealing with Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal, we're dealing all with QR codes because we're taking them. This is not just your customer tipping. This is a lot of times your patron tipping. Okay, so like somebody who's just attending the event may want to tip, and we're not tapping into that. People really like to tip right now for whatever reason. So I would say if you can tap into that, that helps improve your employees' satisfaction in their job as well. So these are the sort of things that you're going to want to turn on to do that. Very simple to do. The other thing that you'll need to turn on is in the templates here. We have to look at our inactive ones. We don't make them active by default in your account, but these three things you're going to want to turn on as well. So when they go in here, and this is the QR code that you would use. Okay, so this is the one that you would print on your signs, on your trucks, on your T-shirts, on whatever, and it's one code that just references your company. Okay. So you just go here and you save that right into some file, and if you need a bigger version or something, that we can help you get that. But it's right here on this company tip here, and what it's going to do is direct them to your company tip page, which is going to show them how to tip your company via these things. If they're at an event, we're going to notice that, and we're going to say, oh, they're really close to an event that this company has going on, so we're going to show them the company tip stuff. We're also going to show them the employee tip stuff, okay? And that way they can say, oh yeah, I want to actually, I don't want to tip the company, I want to tip the employees instead. And they can click on that and they can see the list of employees that have been involved with their event. And if you put pictures in for the employees, those will show up there as well. And they're able to go ahead and tip specific employees. And it's really easy when you're using your phone and you're using Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. It's actually easier than pulling money out of your pocket in some cases, especially this day and age. So I would encourage you to do that. I'm not seeing a lot of people use this, but if I were still in business, I'd be putting this up on all of my stuff because there's a chance that someone's going to click that and tip us, and you can put text around it that kind of says what it is, like, hey, if we're doing a good job, scan me or something like that. It's just a great way to make extra money. Fourth thing that I want to cover here is deposits. A lot of people don't do deposits. A lot of people do really small deposits. Deposits can make a big difference in your bookings and the money that you make. A larger deposit is going to make sure that people are more interested in actually doing and following through with the job with the event. So that's really good. So I would encourage setting your deposit. Make sure you do a deposit. Make sure you have a reasonably high deposit. Don't make it too low. You don't want it to be a barrier, and you know your market and you know what you can get. But we have an option, and I think this is a default at this time. I think we set it up by default, but we have this required payment first. So as you're going through the checkout process, you can get to this contract or this checkout page, and it used to be that we would show the signature and the deposit option. We always showed the signature first, thinking that it was easy to do, and then they would do the deposit, which is a little harder. There's really been a shift in the way we think it works best, and we think it's best if you just show them the payment option. Here it is. Here's everything you need to do. Here's everything you want. Here's the cost. Here's what you need to deposit to secure it. Once they do that, then they see the option to sign the contract and, of course, pay the balance if they want. So I suggest doing that. That's a really simple one. That's going to make sure that people are serious about it. So go for that by all means. The fifth one that I want to go through here, and I know a lot of you have probably done different parts of these already, is the liability waiver or the accidental damage waiver. Now we made this really easy to use and easy to set up because it's been difficult for a long time, so we've made it a lot easier. And one of the reasons why it's difficult is because we give you so many options with it. But we've added this option here, this drop down. So as opposed to setting it up manually by clicking add promotion, you can now go here and click that. And what it's going to do is it's going to fill a bunch of things in for you. I happen to have one already set up, so it's kind of not as relevant. But what it's going to, you're going to see something just like this, though. We've hidden a lot of things that don't make sense for the damage waiver, and instead we've built a lot of things for you. Okay, so kind of a one-stop shop. We've built this filter for you already. We've built this filter for you already over here for the rental items, and we've built the optional field for you as well. So when you save this, all those things get built and they're all set appropriately. Now the next step that you would want to take is you would want to go over to the optional field, and I recommend having it turned on by default, because that's the one thing we don't do, is we don't turn it on by default. But you come in here and you say, I want it to be checked by default, and save it, and that's it. The other thing that you're going to need to do is go to your filters and then fill in some of these things, okay? Because we created these filters, but they're actually empty filters at this point, okay? We've done a few things, but in the damage waiver filter, basically it just has to be checked. This one actually I don't think you really need to change, but this one here, the items that you want to include. So you would want to say rental name is set, that's clear, but you would want to say something like the category, maybe it's a specific category that can apply, so then maybe the category is, I don't even know what I have in here, maybe the category is bounce house, and maybe there's a rental that you want to specifically, oh, that wouldn't be the right one, it'd be rentals names, maybe a specific rental that's kind of unique and you want to make sure that it counts for the damage waiver. So maybe that's our rock wall, and then maybe you want to add a water slide category, so we might also say, and I'm doing this kind of wrong because I should be doing ors here, so they're not ands. You can't match all of them. It should be doing ors. So let me fix that so there's no confusion. So we'll say we want to add a group. Let's do this here. That was bounce. So we're going to add a group. Okay, so we always want the rental name set, and we want to make sure the category is bounce. This one really isn't that important. If you skipped it, it wouldn't matter, I don't think. And then we do our ors. So we could add in a name, but if there was, let's say there was a bounce house we didn't want to involve in this damage waiver, it didn't really count for the damage waiver, we could come in here and say rentals name. and we would say it doesn't contain our other balance that we don't want to include. So we could exclude an item by doing that too. And I guess that would have to be an and, so I did that wrong as well. So we make that an and. Because you would never want it to include that other balance. So filters can get a little complicated. If you don't understand logic, ask for help from the users in the help forum or from us. We're happy to help you with that. That is the 5 steps that I wanted to give you and get through, and I got through them, so it's good. And I feel like I have a little bit of time, so I'm going to do 2 more for you, and then I'm going to open up for some questions. And because I'm not sharing my audio with you, you can't ask me in the meeting or in the webinar. So we're going to do that just through the comments section. So if you have a question, get ready for that, and then I'll try to answer those. The other thing that I think is a good way to make additional revenue is to have something like maybe like a preferred cancellation policy. We all know that weather occurs. We all know that there are different things that happen where people decide they want to cancel or move their date. And a lot of us, I know a lot of you guys struggle with coming up with the right terms and how you do that. And for me, I was always like, I really don't want to see their event get messed up. That's okay. I know you need to cancel. It's fine. But I think that there's a better way to do that, and I didn't do it. But what I'm recommending is come up with terms that you're okay with for cancellation, and make those terms the ones that they have to pay for, and then come up with ones that are worse and make those terms your standard terms. Okay, so you can have your standard terms, and then you can have your preferred terms, and it's almost like it's like a damage waiver sort of situation where they're paying to protect themselves from financial risk. In one case for damage, in another case for this preferred cancellation policy. Who knows, you might even be able to roll them together and say, if you want both of them, we'll give you a discount on it. And so those are some things that you could do. And just, we already showed you how to set the damage waiver. It'd be a very similar thing to do this preferred cancellation policy. I think the big difference is we wouldn't have to do the second filter. Okay, so the way we would do that, and I'll show you here real quick. And I know some of you guys are going to say after this, you're going to say, man, Tim, you showed us how to do this, but we tried it and it didn't work. If something doesn't work, let me know. We'll help you get it working. I'll amend what I said if I was wrong. This is the one that you wouldn't need. So you wouldn't need this over here because we're just doing it based on event. And you might still do a % on the rentals, but you wouldn't need to exclude anything. In this case, this is an event-based thing. So that's how you would set that one up. I would be careful calling it insurance because I think there's a lot of weird rules on insurance. So you would want to make it, preferred cancellation policy or something like that. So, but I think that's a good thing to try. And the last one I want to go over here, and the reason why I just put this on today because somebody who's been with us for a long time, I'm not going to name any names, didn't realize that we do this, and so I just want to make sure that everybody knows from the get-go. So this person was asking, like, how am I going to, I want to market to the people who used me before, okay? And he said, how do I do that? What do I got to do to set it up? I said, well, you just go in and, to your email center and type in yearly, and you're going to see some yearly reminder emails, okay? And just turn them on. Just set them up to what you like and turn them on. That's really that easy. So we don't have a lot of information here about these, but so I want to tell you a little bit about them and how they work. They're actually quite sophisticated. And so we have 2 different ones. One is for past events. So those are people that have actually booked with you and used your services. And I think we go back, 5 years for that. So we'll go back 5 years and we'll look at everybody who's booked, and then we'll send something out to them. And we make a valid attempt, a really good attempt, to make sure that they don't have something booked in the future. So we're not sending them something to say, hey, you should book with us when they've already booked something. So that's all handled for you. And we do the best we can. Sometimes people have multiple profiles and things like that, so there's occasions where those things will happen. But we do the best we can. And the same thing for the yearly reminder for the quote only. So this is a little different. We only go back, I think, 2 or 3 years on this one. People that have actually come in as a lead, they've gotten a quote, they've done something like that, but they didn't actually book. We're going to try to send something to them too. Now, the key with these things, I think, and what we're doing different than a lot of places, is that we are sending it based on, and you can hover over this, for past events, it's days before the event was booked. So we call the book date the date you kind of get them under contract, or they move kind of into those higher statuses. So that's our book date. And so we're giving this parameter to you to say, okay, if they booked in February for an event in April, you don't want to be trying to get them in March. You want to be trying to get them in before February, right? We want to remind them, hey, it's getting close to time to book again because you booked last time in February. So that's what we do. That's how we send it out. That's what we base it on. And for the quote ones, because they didn't actually book, we're doing it based on the create date of that quote. So whenever they came and got the quote, and we recommend a shorter time on that one. You probably don't need to go as far ahead. But that's another really good option for making yourself, let's try to get to 30% or 50% or 70% if you can. Let's get you guys some more money this year. There's a lot of different ways that you can leverage our software to do that. We don't talk about it enough. I admit that. We build these great features, we build these great tools, and we kind of put them out there and hope that you'll understand, what they're for. We give you information on them, but we don't tell you how to practically use them sometimes. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of time today and go through it that way and kind of give you some real practical steps. I hope that the minimal amount of clicking around on this screen that I did will actually be useful for you if you decide to set some of these up. We will have this video available. I think Facebook will have it up for a while. We'll probably upload it to our YouTube account as well and make it available to you there. Possibly even put it into our knowledge-based stuff so that you can search that and rewatch the video and pause it where you need to. I know I was talking pretty fast, but pause it wherever you need to and see, go through the steps. And like I said, if something happens, and maybe this is a good reason for me to put it in the knowledge base, if something happens, I can then go and post some information on, okay, I made a mistake there, that wasn't right, here's how you actually do it. Or maybe I'll say, we couldn't actually do it, but we will now. So anything I miss, we'll get it fixed for you and make sure it works for you. Okay, and I definitely will go back and look into what I was supposed to be using for the filter there, because clearly something wasn't showing up when I expected the coupon code should show up there. So we'll get that sorted out and I'll post that as well. So I don't want to keep talking right now. I want to look and see, do you guys have any questions? So let me go through here. I'm going to start up at the top. So if you have more questions, post at the bottom, and I will just kind of answer whatever I see here as I'm going through. And if I don't see any, well, then we'll just sit in silence, I guess. It'll be special. I am recording this. Someone asked. Again, this is new tech. I think I'm recording this. I don't know if any of you guys have used OBS, Open Broadcaster Studio, I think it's called. It's pretty neat, and I think I'll get better at it. But this is my first time, so thanks, Tom. Yeah, the no tip default tip is really awesome. I think that just by setting a default and then forcing them to choose no tip, that social pressure can be a lot. Even if you're sitting at home with Cheetos on your shirt in your bed trying to book a bounce house. So there's still social pressure there. Probably not as much. And Tom, you had asked, let's see, the company tip, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, and the payment preferences section under tips is for the company. Those ones are for the company. I didn't show you, and I'll go ahead and do that right now. The workers have their own section for that too. So let me add a worker here. If we go here on the side, you can see there's a tips section. So any worker, you can put in their stuff, and that's direct to them. And I didn't also mention this before, but there's a real advantage for trying to do your tips through this method, because by doing it direct to them through their own Venmo, their Cash, their PayPal app, you don't have to get involved. You don't have to decide at the end of the month how much tip money goes to each person. You tell them, hey guys, here's your business card, or here's your shirt to wear, and they're going to tip you off of this, and that's how we're going to do it. And all the other tips that come in are company tips, and we may spread them out as we see fit, but we're not going to spend hours laboring over this trying to make it fair. It's just too hard. Get the worker information in here and let people tip that way. Let's see. Will the tip identify the employees if they are on a delivery and not just an event? Yeah, so what we do with the tips is anybody who is scheduled on that lead. So when you do delivery scheduling, we're building your schedule, but we actually put the people on that lead as well on a shift just for a period, the period that they're going to be there at that event for that lead, so we know who's there. We also know if you're using sales reps and you have a sales rep assigned, you will see all those people that are listed in those shifts as well as any sales rep. So if they had a good experience with a sales rep, they can tip the sales rep too. And that's another reason to maybe put, and I didn't say this, but I think it's a good idea, when your team shows up, they have some sort of paper that they can give to the customer. Not a bad idea to put some rules on there, things that maybe people make mistakes on a lot. That way you can point to it again and say, hey, we told you that this was going to happen and this is what you should do. And but I would put some marketing material on there, put some advertisement on there. Again, put your QR code on there that says, hey, if you had a good experience, if you're happy with us, scan me, and that's going to take them to the tip page. So, I would definitely suggest doing that because they're the ones that worked with your sales rep. They're the ones that could then tip your sales rep for that work. How do you add? Adding more text to the damage waiver. Great, yeah. So there's a couple ways you can do damage waiver. I would recommend putting the damage waiver text in your contract, to tell you the truth. I don't think it's a good thing to put it on your checkout page. I would not put much there. Put enough for them to understand what it is. So I'll show you how to do both of those. But I mean, clearly, for the contract, you're just going to come in here, and these are just like sample contracts. But you're going to have, make a new section in here that's going to be called, damage waiver, and then put your term. This is where you want your real terms. Okay, make them very clear. The other place to do it, and let's see here, would be during the checkout. You do need to make sure that it's succinct, but it is clear. And I don't know if on my test account, well, this wouldn't be the right page anyway. I don't know if that's going to be in here or not. That's a good question though. Let me look. So let's open that page up. So normally it would show up down in here. So I don't see it there. So let's go back to optional fields, and I'll show you how to add that, because that must be something that we didn't do. But if you open that optional field and you say, okay, I want it to add it to my WordPress checkout, just click add. I don't think you have to save it either. I think it just adds it. So now if we refresh it, it should be there. There you go. So once it's there, again, that's not very clear, right? So if you feel like you need to clear it up, now that we have it there, it's easier to do. So we're going to go to the WordPress checkout page that we just added it to, and then we're going to do something a little scary, but I will show you how to do it. We're going to go to the source here because you can't really do that very easily in this view. Because this won't expand, unfortunately. Maybe we could get that to work for you guys at some point, but I'm going to go ahead and click this code view. I highlighted this text for a reason. It's going to get me close to where I want to be. So I click code view. Because I highlighted that text, it's going to get me real close there. There's a little delay, as you can see. Good thing I'm patient. I'm not really that patient. Okay, here we go. So you can see there's the highlighted text, and so it was in the bottom of that section. We're just going to scroll down until we find it. You can also do like a control F or whatever to search for it. Oh, right there it is. There's our damage waiver, and it's real simple. If you want to add more to it, we would just maybe put a colon in there and just say whatever you want to say, accidental damage waiver, only accidents. You can't be stupid. Now you're not allowed to do fun stuff like this because you're you're selling to people, so you have to be nice. But we can joke around about it. So this will save here in a second. I'm running a little slow right now. CPU resources are high over here. And then once it's done saving, which it's still not done, we'll refresh it and I'll show you what it looks like. One of the things I did find, and I'm not sure why yet, is if you scroll up here and toggle out of source code and then do the save, it tends to happen faster. I think the primary thing that we're seeing right now is my computer is just running slow. So, but it's going to show up down in here. Yeah, I totally froze my computer up, so, or my browser. So let me answer another question and see if we come back here and are able to do it. Oh, it's going to refresh. There we go. Only accidents. You can't be stupid. So, and you can make that look like whatever you want there, you know, if you want to get fancy. It's HTML. I know it's not easy to do because it's hidden in the editor and you have to go to source view. But you know, you can get anyone that knows HTML to help you out with that too. So, let's see. Any other questions here? Where did I go? Let's see. I added the damage waiver and looked away. Where did he go to turn it on? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by turning it on. Once you add it, I think you mean maybe adding it to the page, which I just covered. So I'm going to leave that go. I think that's what you probably meant. So let's see here. Any other questions here? Oh, Janet, thank you. You said it was easy to understand. I'm not a webinar guy. I felt like I stumbled over my words a little bit there, and I tried to talk really fast to get it all in. So I appreciate the encouragement. Probably a bunch of you guys could have done a better job than me. Let's see. How can you use the delivery router to plan the day before deliveries? Well, that's a big one. I don't know if I'm going to get into that one today. That's like another webinar. I would probably do it before that, for one. I mean, if you're running, if you're that busy that you can't do it till the day before, then that's okay. But I would suggest doing it maybe earlier in the week to kind of get things set up. You know, 5-6 days before. Even if you have stuff come in afterward, you can make it work. We have videos on the delivery planner. I suggest going to our go to the help menu up at the top, search for delivery. Go and watch one of those videos, read about it. We have a new delivery planner coming out. That's the other thing. So it's really long overdue. We've been working hard at it. It's just not an easy problem to solve. But we do have another one coming out. So I'm going to leave that for now. But there's a lot of help out there for the existing one. Our YouTube channel, also Facebook. If you search those videos, we've got a number of videos on the delivery planner. And I know a lot of people have done some really neat stuff with it. So ask in Rental Pros, ask in InflatableOffice users group as well. So why raise prices then offer promotions? Would they not like to see the best price up front? You don't want the people that want to see the best price up front, probably, to tell you the truth. You want the people that are willing to spend some money. You never want to compete on price. You want to differentiate yourself, for one, with your competition, and it should never be that you have the lowest prices, quite honestly. I mean, think about if you just set your prices 15% higher, and you might book less people, but as long as you booked 85% of the business you did last year, you're going to do the same rate, right? Because your prices went up 15%. The biggest reason why you raise prices and offer promotions, I think, is you look around you. That's what stores do all the time. People are used to it. People are conditioned. It's a common marketing technique. It's a psychological thing that you're playing with there, and it works. It's just real obvious that it works. So there's whole books about things like that. In fact, if you're really interested, go and pick up a book on how to sell better, and you're gonna learn a lot about psychology. It's very interesting stuff. Greg is just answering questions here. I keep looking at Greg's here and wondering if he's asking a question, but it looks like he's just answering questions. Will a new delivery planner be out soon? I have one of my best developers on it, so he is doing really well at it. I was hoping we would get it out here last year, but it is not his fault. It is we're doing a lot with it. We're trying to solve all the things that you guys said we were missing before. We're trying to fit in there, and it's a lot, and it's really complicated stuff to make things get the distance and the times in real time. To move things around like that on the screen it's not an easy thing to program. I feel in some ways like Joel and I got lucky when we did it the first time, and somehow got it to work pretty well and pretty quickly. So I will say I believe the delivery planner will be out before summer. That's as far as I want to go on that, because I've promised it a few times now. So let's see who's got. Someone else has a question here. Is it possible to share an item or duplicate a base? I have a group of people with all the same base items. Is it possible to share an item with them or duplicate a base site for them? That is something that you would want to contact our support or sales team about. If you're going to bring on a bunch of people with similar items or the same items, we can do a copy for you and copy those into the other account probably to make that a little easier. I do want to mention that hoping, I know at some point this year we're going to have the ability to share templates, share reports, share filters, even dashboard widgets across InflatableOffice accounts. If you want to do that, that's going to be coming because I've seen this community start to kind of gel, and I've seen you guys helping each other out, and I want to make it easier for you to help each other. I think it's a great idea. So you're going to see those things coming this year. And that'll be something where you can share directly with certain companies, or you can say, I want to share it with the entire InflatableOffice world. I'm hoping that we can set it up to allow you to kind of vote on some of those things so that we can show you the most popular things that people are sharing. Okay. Thank you, Greg. Yes, I am going to try. I'm trying to record this. I think it'll be recorded. I will post it if I can. Any way to allow us to update inventory via CSV. I don't have a way to do that yet. It's something that is on our list. There's a number of complications with that and things that we haven't tried to tackle yet. We do have a way for you to import. I think the next step in doing what you're asking for is allow you to have the ID in there so that when you import it, you can identify hey, I want you to match this ID with whatever IDs are already in my account and update their information as opposed to adding new items in. I think that'll be possible. I'm going to tell you it's not super high on my list right now, so it's probably not going to happen for a while. So let's see here. Thanks, Tom, for posting that video on how to do, and I did have a tip video up here somewhere, but I have lost it. Thanks for posting the video on the delivery stuff. If you search our YouTube stuff, you'll find a couple videos on tips as well. IO app. Tom asked about the IO app and where it is in development. Okay, so there are two IO apps. One is I think it might be called the IO app, and that one is going to be discontinued. We've not kept up on it. As we went into building our new version, and we made it in a platform that made it very good mobile. It's not the best mobile. It's not as good as an app would be probably, but it's really good in the mobile view, and we'll continue to improve that. It just doesn't make sense for us to maintain the app as well. It's too hard for us to do both, so we're discontinuing that one in favor of our other app, which is called IO Workers. Our Workers app is meant to be used for warehouse management, logistics, deliveries, and stuff like that. So that is we have a long way to go on that. We have big plans for it, but we've got some things going right now with it. The packing list stuff, electronic packing list work, and I know we'll make improvements as you guys start using it. We also have the whole QR code scanning stuff of inventory. You can use that to check things in and out, as well as you can use it just to get information on your items, so forth. So I'm not sure. I think that probably answers your question, Tom. Do I have a video on how to create a coupon code? Well, I fumbled through it in this video. I need to make one because I don't know that I've made one since we. It's possible that I have one out there. If you haven't searched our knowledge base, you should. That's the first place I look when people ask questions like that. But making a coupon is not so bad. The thing I missed was the code was right here. So this is actually the code. So your code is right there. That's what people have to enter in the coupon field to get it to work. Okay, as long as you make sure that's a coupon code right there. And then you would want to filter. And again, in this case, usually with a coupon code, you want it to always apply. So your filter has to be something that's always going to match. And I'm just trying to think here, something that would always match. I would probably do this. I know this would always match. So the create date and time would have to be in the past, right? So we'd say create date and time is set. Okay, so it's actually a created lead. So that's one way that you might do it. There's probably a better way, and I wish I could think it up. I'll put it on my list, and I'll let you know a better way to do that. But when you're creating a coupon, you're going to have a filter to match, and then you put your percentage in here. And these things are based on. These are just preferences. If you want to use these down here, you can use these. But it's pretty simple to make that coupon code. It'll show to you if it's valid when you're working with a lead. I think the ones that aren't valid, I can't remember if they don't show. I don't think they show. And if you add them and then later on they become invalid, it will warn you about that so that if you need to remove it, you can. Oh, I should have read your second comment, Jimmy. It says, we wanted to create a coupon code limited 1 per address. I just thought about this today and figured you'd ask me that question. Let's see, how could we do that? I'm going to have to think about that one too. I'm guessing there's a way because our filters are so powerful, but it's not something that easily comes to mind. So let me make a note of those two things, and I will get back to you guys on that. In fact, what I'll do is I'll make sure I post this webinar information in the knowledge base. So just go search there for webinar, search for keywords in the title of this webinar, and you will find it, and I will give you that information. I think the two things we needed here were always valid coupon codes, and the other one was one use per customer, basically. Now I will say the one use per customer a little complicated because when customers don't fill in the same information, we will create duplicates. That is something that I want to let you know that we are pursuing. We're going to give you some more control over what you think should be considered a match and how you want us to deal with those matches, as opposed to creating duplicates because we're afraid we're going to overwrite information. So we're going to give you that ability. Funtime services. Can the new Zap function map information from form fields in other programs to optional fields in InflatableOffice? Let's see. Yeah, that should be not a problem. Yeah, that should be able to do that. It's not your everyday sort of thing that you're doing. So, as you work through that, ask us questions if you need to. If you're familiar with Zapier, Zapier should load those fields in. I'm trying to think. It's possible that our lead create in Zapier does not allow for optional fields. I think there's a good possibility for that. The API that Zapier is using does allow for that. So we may need to, if you really want to pursue that, we may need to take a look at that and see what we could add to bring in those optional fields. But there's probably a way to do that in Zapier if you don't want to go specific with the API, which is a little more work. So. Okay, Joe Pacifico. I've had other people ask this too. Will there ever be a way customers cannot take the same drop-off or pickup times? Yes, we've been hearing about this a lot. over the last few years, and it's building. That is something that we plan to pursue. That is not a simple problem to solve inside of our system the way we've built it. Um, it's a complicated one because you know uh, we could set it up so that it only allows 2 per slot. For what if it starts at 8, we only allow 2 to start at 8, but maybe one of those events is going to take a half hour to set up, the other is going to take an hour to set up. So really, when is the next slot? Is it, are we allowed? Is it okay if we have another one at 8:30, but then we can have 2 at 9. There's a lot of logic that would have to go into something like that, and we either have to do a really good job at guessing the way you want it, or we have to give you a lot of settings to set it up the way you want it. I know there's stuff out there that does it. You think of things like Calendly or other things, but I will tell you that we are going into some areas where we require that. So it is on our list. I would hope that we get somewhere on it this year, but I can't say for sure. Tom, it says I already answered your question here, so I'm not gonna answer that second part. Let's see, Pam, we want a coupon code for anyone who books before March 1st and pays the deposit. Is that possible? Yes, I believe so. So you say book before March 1st, so they may have an event after March 1st. So what you would want to do, and we'll go over to filters and take a look at that. Man, maybe we should just have a filter day where we all play with filters, and you just ask me how to do your filters. So we want to look at book date. That's what I would use. I'm assuming that's what you mean. So you would set it to March 1st. March 1st. Oops. Oh, that's fixed range. So let's see. Is before. So we want to say is before March 1st. So that would be one part of the filter. And the other thing was they pay the deposit. Well, I think you should make everybody pay the deposit, but let's see here. I don't think we have one for deposit, so I think we have to do, and like I said, this account doesn't seem to be showing all of my filters, so I need to look into that. But let's see, I would probably do like dollars paid. So I would say dollars paid is greater than 0. So that doesn't tell you if it's a deposit, but you could at least make sure they've paid some money. I don't know if I have any other. I know I have a couple things with dollars. If we search on dollars here, yeah, I don't have one that would tell us about deposit. And the reason being is that's kind of a complicated one. There's a lot of options for deposit, so making that work inside of our filter system is a little difficult. Hopefully that will help you, Pam. Is there a video on setting up time slots already, or can you do one? We haven't. I don't think we've done a time slot video. It's kind of one of those things that slipped out there. We were kind of playing with it. We didn't really push it very hard, and we got way more people that wanted to use it than we wanted to use it. We actually pulled it out for a little while. We actually hid it, and then brought it back later with some more features. I'll see if we can do some work on that to get you guys a little more information on time slots. It would probably be really useful. Another thing you could do is maybe search our docs. I would guess there's a doc out there about time slots and how that works. A lot of times people want time slots to do more than what we meant them to do. So don't get too excited about time slots right now. Let's see. I see. So Jimmy, yeah, you were talking about limiting by address. One of the things that's a good idea. I'll make a note of that. You're right. They can change emails too easily. They can change names and stuff like that. So. So that's that one's that falls into a special category, Jimmy, because that's not an easy thing to do, probably within our framework. Like our filter stuff is very customizable, but I think that might be a little beyond that. 100% for filter day. I think actually one of the webinars coming up that I'm going to do, I'm going to focus on filters. So if not, I'll make sure I do one. Will iPhone ever be integrated into an app to use? Yes, absolutely. I want that in the worst way, Joe. Unfortunately, my guy that does phone is doing the delivery planner right now, so I haven't had a chance to. I'm trying to get that delivery planner done. I tell you, once that thing's done, we're gonna cruise on some stuff because it's taken up a lot of our time. I will see what I can do. My app guy might be able to integrate it with just speaking to my phone guy a little bit here and there. So we'll see if we can get that in there. I have some big plans for that inside the app. It's a big part of what I want to release. So keep in mind, this is our busy season right now. You guys are getting ready, and that means you're talking a lot to us. So we're putting out fires everywhere. So bigger projects like that we usually aren't going to start right now. We're going to do the little things to put out all these fires. The bigger things will start as you guys get closer to getting busy. Because when you get busy, you don't ask us many questions. You kind of leave us alone. So let's see. Great, Pam. I'm glad that helped. Let's see. Becca, you're way behind. Watch it tomorrow. That's a great idea. I think you can actually rewind the live video if you want. So I think you're allowed to do that. How do we add Apple Pay using Square? Using Square add Apple Pay. I don't know if I'll be able to do it on this demo account without signing into a Square account. But let me just take a look at what we have for the settings for Square. Oh, actually I can. So once you signed into Square, you just need to make sure these are checked right here. Apple Pay, Google Pay. If you want to use Afterpay, you can. That's all you got to do. It's that easy, Mike. So you got to sign into your Square account right here, and then that'll set this field right here. Because you make sure you sign into the right one and pick, if you have multiple businesses in your Square account, pick the right one, and then set these things and save, and you're good to go. Just as an aside, these don't always show up because Apple Pay won't show on a device that it can't be used on. Okay, so don't think, oh, it's not working. Make sure you're testing it on an actual Apple device that has the ability to take Apple Pay and has Apple Pay set up, or Apple won't display it. So, is there a way to get a notification on the phone icon when a text is received? Yes, there is not. Again, that is another one that is on the top of our list to do. Nikki, it's I'm probably going to do it because I don't think it's that hard to do. And my support staff would probably appreciate it. My sales staff would probably appreciate it. I do think that doing it inside the IO Workers app is going to be really where it's at for you guys for the most part. So both of those are scheduled. I'll probably get the one that you're talking about, Nikki, sooner than the app one because the app's just going to be a little more work. Can Authorize.net use Apple Pay? We can't do that. I'm guessing they can. Our Authorize.net integration is very old. It's very antiquated. We have not updated it in a very, very long time. If I were to guess, I would probably say we will probably update it in the next couple years. When we do that, we may add some of those things if they're easy enough to add, but it's not going to be something that you can do immediately. If you're looking for Apple Pay, the only thing we do Apple Pay and Google Pay for right now is Square, because we just redid some work for them. We will be adding that to global payments once global gets that ability to us. So that will be coming. They're working on it, and we will add that when that's available. So let's see. If a customer pays with Apple Pay or Google Pay, does Square not save method of payment? I'm not exactly sure how that works because when they're paying Apple Pay or Google Pay, it's technically being paid for by your Apple Wallet or your Google Wallet. So I would think so. So the credit card is in your Apple Wallet or your Google Wallet. So I think that Apple or Google is sending it to Square to process. Square's still processing it. So it should show up in there. I don't know if Square differentiates if it's an Apple Pay or Google Pay sort of thing. I would guess they would. I would want to know that. So, but I'm not a Square user, so you'll have to check on that. Okay, looks like I got to the bottom of the questions, and we have dwindled down on viewership here. I didn't look at our peak how we were doing, but I think we might have been up in the 70s, so that's great. We had a great group tonight. I really appreciate everybody coming. Oh, it showed up as a third-party payment on my end, so maybe that's how it shows up then with Apple Pay or Google Pay. It maybe doesn't tell you exactly, just says third-party. Well, thank you all for being so kind. We'll do it again. We have a whole schedule of webinars coming up in the next 3 months. It's not always going to be me, so that's good. But I'm doing a fair amount of them. So make sure you check back. We're going to do the same sort of thing, register through that webinar page. We do that to make sure we know who wants to come and make sure we can get you the link. Just so you know, we did all that stuff through our own Inflatable Office account. So that form we built in Elementor, there's nothing that we did that you can't do, okay? We built the form in Elementor. When you submit it, it goes into a lead in our account. We had that come in with a tag called webinar, and then we had filters set up to handle that tag and then send you reminders and so forth. So all stuff that you can do inside your Inflatable Office account and your WordPress website, just so you know. Really appreciate it, guys. I'm an old man and I'm getting tired. So I just turned 45 a couple days ago. So I will let you all go. Thanks. Really had a good time doing it. And we'll catch up with you later.